The 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLE, which I happen to be driving right now, is one of the most important models for 2020. And not just because it's Mercedes' new luxury SUV, one of the best luxury SUVs on the market for under $80,000, but also because it features a lot of new features and technologies that we're going to be seeing in future Mercedes. So this is kind of giving us some hints as to what their future lineup is going to look like. So today I'm going to walk you guys around this car. We're going to talk about the exterior, interior features, the technologies, the powertrain, and then we're going to go on a test drive. Let's get right into it. Now, Mercedes has always taken a different approach to their exterior styling than other luxury car manufacturers. BMW and Audi and Porsche, for example, their models seem to be getting more sharp and aggressive with every model year. In fact, it's only a matter of time before we have knives sticking out on every bumper of the car. They're just so sharp and they almost start to hurt your eyes after a while. Mercedes has taken a much more classic approach with their exteriors. You've got smooth flowing lines all around the exterior, nothing is too sharp, and it's all a very free-flowing design. But of course, this is a 2020 brand new Mercedes-Benz, so they've integrated some new luxury features and technologies into this exterior, and that starts off in the front of the car. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I walked up to the 2020 GLE is that these vents here on the side, which are normally there to pull in air to help cool the engine, these are completely fake. But they're not fake like normal cars are. This is kind of a rubberized, flexible plastic. It almost looks and feels like the scales of a fish when you touch it. Never seen this type of material used on the exterior of any other car. I think it's a really cool design element. And of course, we have chrome integrated inside this fake vent. Now, I believe this is a non-functional piece, but I really wish they would integrate the turn signal into this little strip right here. I think that would really make the front end of the car look so much more aggressive and stand out a lot more. And speaking of turn signals and things like that, all the lights on the exterior of the 2020 GLE are LEDs as standard. So these updated headlights and the updated taillights in the rear, standard LEDs to help with nighttime visibility. Moving along to the side of the car, we don't see a ton of new design elements here. Obviously, the proportions of the car haven't changed a lot. It's still a big SUV at heart. But one standard feature that you are getting for the 2020 model year are projector mirrors. Now, when you unlock or lock the car at night, these projectors will automatically shine a Mercedes-Benz logo onto the ground to help you find your way to the door at night. And one last feature I'd like to mention on the exterior of the GLE before we hop into the interior is that the key has been redesigned as well with a much thinner, more modern design. So while the exterior of the GLE takes a fairly similar approach to design as the rest of the models in Mercedes' current and past lineup, the interior takes a wholly different approach. They've redesigned almost everything from these turn signal stalks to the climate vents to the seats. Everything you see is essentially completely redesigned from the ground up. And some of the features I think they've improved are these climate vents. You may remember that in the previous models they were kind of a circle-shaped turbine style, kind of reminiscent of aviation, and it really didn't fit with anything else in the interior. In my opinion, these square ones fit a lot better with current design trends and look a lot smoother here on the square-shaped wood accent dashboard. And speaking of current design trends and other luxury SUVs in this market, one design feature I'm noticing very similar to the Porsche Cayenne are these handles right here. They're obviously very comfortable to rest your hand on if you don't want to keep both of them on the steering wheel, but this looks like it's been taken directly from the Porsche Cayenne. So Mercedes might be copying just a little bit off other manufacturers here, but I think it looks really cool in this interior. And we have a new redesigned touchpad here on the center console area. It's a little bit lower and wider than the previous version of this feature, and it actually has a bit of feedback. When you swipe or press down on it, it will actually vibrate to let you know that you've done something. And it operates very similar to a smartphone and allows you to control the 12.3-inch infotainment system. Now, speaking of that infotainment system, it's brand new as well with new graphics, a new layout, and a really, really cool intuitive design. The touchscreen is very sensitive and works promptly. I love the navigation system in here that functions very similar to Google Maps. And of course, you get standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Something interesting to note about this infotainment system is that it's kind of on the same trim panel as the gauge cluster. Kind of extends on a huge monitor across the entire interior to the 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster, which, just like the infotainment screen, is customizable and can show a host of different settings and navigation features. This is a really, really modern design in regards to technology, but I really don't like it, to be honest. It reminds me of looking at a computer monitor while trying to drive at the same time, and it also elevates the dashboard almost to eye level, so you're reducing front visibility as well. They've definitely improved on the general design of this interior, but I feel like the infotainment system was better in the previous versions. As standard, the GLE is going to come with a ton of really nice, high-quality luxury, sophisticated materials, such as this hand-stitched Nappa leather steering wheel, these leather power-adjustable, sanded, heated front seats, and also these kind of vinyl cloth-wrapped sun visors. Now, what's really cool about these is that there's actually two of them. You have one that can fold off to the side, and then another that can fold down from the top. So you can essentially box yourself in and hide from the sun like that. And this is a really cool feature that I've never seen in any other car up till now. Might be the first in all of history. Another first for this channel in my reviews is the optional heated and cooled cup holders. I've never seen this in another model, but if you pay a little bit of extra money, you can get a little button by your cup holders that will keep your drinks at the perfect temperature. And right in front of that, we can see the wireless phone charger, but the car also comes with 5 standard USB ports, so you can plug your phone in wherever you like. All right, it's starting to get pretty hot in here, so let's turn the car on, crank that AC up, and go for a drive. So starting off in the Mercedes GLE, it feels like a fairly normal car. Obviously, this isn't an AMG line model, so you're not getting insane amounts of torque. In fact, you only get one powertrain option. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. However, that turbo should help the 4-cylinder to produce 255 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque for the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. So it should be pretty peppy out on the road, as I'm sure we're about to experience. But first, just a few things to mention about the way this car feels before we go into performance and things like that. It is a very high ride. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a truck right now. It's very high off the ground, and like I said before with the infotainment system, the visibility is a little bit blocked when it comes to lower down towards the road. Something else that also took me a minute to get used to is the pedals. The brake is actually about an inch or two higher off the ground than the accelerator, the gas pedal. So that took a minute to get used to. It was kind of a little bit interesting at first, but I got used to it fairly quickly. I'm not sure why they did that. I guess just to make it easier to drive. You don't want anything to be too sensitive in a luxury car like this. So they kept it all spaced apart fairly well and easy to operate. Overall, it's a very quiet and smooth ride. Obviously, this is a modern luxury car from Mercedes, so the suspension is as soft as it's going to get, short of Rolls-Royce, and the interior is very quiet, I'm noticing. Going up a bit of an incline here, I know that the front of the car with those chrome bumper inserts is high enough off the ground. I don't have to worry about scraping it. Going over some speed bumps here, I'm not even feeling them because the car is so insanely smooth. But now that we've warmed the engine up a little bit, let's do a quick acceleration and see how this thing can perform. It's honestly not bad. They say 0 to 60 is in 7.1 seconds, and that feels about right for this car. It's a very short pedal throw, actually. I mentioned it was closer to the ground. Well, it also hits the floor a lot faster than usual. Not the fastest car I've ever driven, not the slowest. I guess average for a large SUV like this. There is quite a lot of body roll around these turns, though, I'm noticing. But of course, you know, luxury SUV Mercedes buyers, they're not worried about performance unless they're buying the AMG model, which, hey, if you want to see me review that, leave a like on this video. So it's more focused on luxury and being comfortable than on being fast and feeling great on back roads like this. Make sure to check out the reviews I've done of some similar models by clicking on one of the video cards right there. And of course, I have to send a huge shout out and special thanks to Loki Mercedes here in Clearwater, Florida for providing me with this GLE to review today. I'll put a link to their inventory below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe.